Hare Krishna Mataji, can we start? Vrajesvari, Pran Mataji, are you ready? Yeah, we have enough participants today, Mataji, so we'll start early. I mean, on time. Usually we give 5 minutes, but today we are starting. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Vrajesvari Pran Mataji to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 4th chapter. But date is not 4. I'm so sorry, it's 7th date. Today, it would be very nice. It would be so 4th date. Everything 4, 4, 4. But anyway, thank you, Mataji. Nadavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada for having this day, coming on this day and giving a summary of 4th chapter from 4th canto. We are very grateful to you, Mataji. I now hand over the call to you. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'll begin with the prayers. Thank you all for joining today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Sakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tatati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vidam Tamsa Jeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suthe Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sundubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhachata Desa Dharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone, again. So our discussion today is going to be on chapter 4 of Canto 4. Wonderful pastime of Daksha, Lord Shiva, and Sati Devi. I will share my screen now.
We can see the PPT, Mataji.
Sure, Mataji. I'm trying to put it in the slide mode. Thank you, Mataji. All right. So this is a short chapter, 34 verses. But I do have a lot of slides somehow. So I would like, this is the beginning, we are in the very beginning of 4th canto. So I thought I'll give, I would like to talk just to get warm up, canto connection between 3 and 4, and then how chapter 1, 2, 3 is connected to chapter 4, because it's all same pastime, right? So canto 3 is about Visarga, secondary creation by Brahma and Prajapatis. And that is described by Maitreya Muni to Vidura. And the first Manu is Swayambhav Manu. And he had 5 children, 3 daughters and 2 sons. So in the 3rd canto, Maitreya Muni describes one of the daughters' lineage, which is Devahuti. And Devahuti married to Kardama Muni, and then 9 daughters, 1 son, that is Kapila Dev, and then Kapila Dev's teachings. Why Maitreya Muni talked about one of the daughters first is Vidura wanted to know about Kapila Dev. He was more curious to hear about Kapila Dev. So that's the reason Mother Devahuti and Kardama Muni lineage was described first. And then Kapila Dev's teaching that ended the 3rd canto. Now 4th canto starts with he starts describing the other 2 daughters, Akuti and Prasuti. And while saying that, this pastime comes. So he describes the Akuti married to Ruchi and their descendants, lineage. And then Maitreya says Prasuti married to Daksha, and they had 16 daughters. While he was saying that, he will say the 16th daughter is Sati Devi, married to Lord Shiva, but they didn't have children. And then he says the reason, because Sati gave up her body before reaching the maturity, because her father Daksha and Lord Shiva had a problem. Because Lord Shiva was offended by Daksha, so Sati gave up her body, so they didn't have children. So when Vidura hears this, then he wants to know more about that. Then he asks, okay, Daksha and Shiva both are glorious, and how could they quarrel that Sati have to give up her body? So when that question comes, then this pastime starts. So the chapter connection. So in the chapter 2, now to the pastime starts, right? So the sacrifice, Daksha, everybody was invited all over the universe, all the leaders, and Daksha entered the arena. Everybody offers respects to him. Brahma did not get up because he's his father, so he don't have to. But at the same time, Lord Shiva also did not rise from the seat to offer respect because he was in meditation. He was in Vasudeva consciousness platform. He was meditating on the super soul. So Daksha it was not a momentary anger. He already had a deep-rooted envy towards Lord Shiva because of Lord Shiva's exalted position. He was envious, which was deep-rooted. So making use of this opportunity, he started talking about what is good manners, what is respect, in a very criticizing, very sharp words. He said that this Shiva is shameless and proud fellow. He married my daughter, so he accepted himself as a subordinate to me, but he does not offer due respects. And he says he's impure, unclean, homeless, mad, monkey-like eyes, very sharp words. And then he says, finally, he says that he will not get any share on this oblations in the sacrifice. So because all the demigods receives a share from the sacrificial oblations, Shiva will not get that share, and he leaves the assembly. Then the followers of Shiva and followers of Daksha has a counter curse. Nandishwar, follower of Shiva, curse Daksha's followers. And then Bhrigu Muni, hearing that, because Nandishwar was cursing the Brahmana and sages, so Bhrigu Muni get angry, and then he also start cursing Shiva's follower, become atheist and all that. So the curse and counter curse happens. So to stop this one, Lord Shiva leaves the arena without saying anything. Silently he leaves. But they still do the sacrifice without them. So that is the second chapter. So then the third chapter so the tension between Daksha and Shiva continued for a long time. And then Daksha starts one more sacrifice. But this time he does not invite Lord Shiva. But Sati wants to go to his father's house to attend the sacrifice. So, so when they have a conversation, Shiva explained the reason why she shouldn't go. Because Lord Shiva can foresee what's going to happen, that something harmful can happen to her. So Shiva says to Sati if one go to a relative's home, even uninvited, okay, but only if the host is not a fault finder. Otherwise, we shouldn't go. So you may be a favorite daughter of Daksha, but he will not respect you because you are my wife. You have connection with me. So if you go, if you neglect my words and you still go, it won't be good for you. And the humiliation will be more than, worse than death. So this is the conversation. The whole chapter is a conversation between Shiva and Sati. Now we are in 4th chapter. So in spite of this, Sati Devi decides to go. So that's what we're going to go. And then she gives up her body, but we're going to go in detail in the chapter, 34 verses. First, Sati goes to Daksha's sacrifice, how she goes, that description. And then she doesn't get a warm welcome there. And then she condemns Daksha for his behavior and of, making, offending Lord Shiva. And then she gives up her body. And then what happens in the arena, that is the chapter. So after hearing from Lord Shiva, she becomes silent, Sati Devi, because now she has 2 decisions. Either she can go or listen to Lord Shiva and stay, right? But she was very much anxious to see her relatives, right? But at the same time, she was afraid of Lord Shiva's warning. So she's kind of unsettled now. We all have the situation, right? 2 decisions. One maybe is a little strong that we want to do, our mind want to do. The other one we don't want to do. Maybe that may be the right thing to do, right? And we always have that. And then how do we make the decision, right? Our mind can pull us to what it wants to do. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, she was like a pendulum in the clock, whether to go or obey the order of Lord Shiva. The decision was she couldn't make the decision. She was like a pendulum. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I referred to, other than Prabhupada mercifully given, condensed all the commentaries and a beautiful, profound and sweet purport in this chapter. But I had time, so I referred to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary also. So I have some slides from that. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, even though she's a one person, she took 2 forms because there was a conflict between 2. One is desire, another one is a fear. The desire to see the relatives, and the other one is fear of Lord Shiva's warning. So she had 2 forms. And then she also get angry. Next, after she couldn't, first she's anxious. Next, she get anger because Lord Shiva is forbidding her to go, right? So, but she has the affection for them, the family, right? So when that is more high, then you get angry. And then also she starts crying. Tear fell from her eyes. Shaking and very much afflicted, she looked at her uncommon husband, right? I like the word uncommon husband. So Prabhupada write in the purport what that mean by uncommon husband. So as if she was going to blast him with her vision, she's looking. Now she's angry. So uncommon husband, Prabhupada write in the purport, aprati purusham, without an equal or rival. So in the equal, that means it's not that he don't have any equal person. It means he has no one equal in the material world in regards to equality to everyone. Let me explain that. He's so equal to everyone that nobody can do like that. So he has no equal in regards to his equality to everyone. Also, he does not have a rival enemy. And then Sati Devi used her last weapon. What is the last weapon? Prabhupada write in the purport. For women, the last weapon is tears, right? Sometimes we want to get something and we plead or persuade and angry, and nothing works. Then the final one is weeping. If you notice that usually doesn't happen in men. Only women do that, right? I have never seen any men weeping to get something done, right? So she could not persuade her husband to give her permissions, and the last weapon she took was the weeping. So usually that forces the husband to agree to what they say, right? So she produced tears, ashru kala. And then what happened? But still, she still leaves. Thereafter, Sati left her husband. So when we say left her husband, it's not she's rejecting or abandoning. That is not the meaning here. She left her husband means, he didn't give permission, but she's still leaving. That is what it means. And it says in the verse says, who had given her half of his body due to affection. Shiva has given half of his body due to affection to her. Even though she has that, she left him. And breathing very heavily, she went to the house of her father. This less intelligent act. So the verse says it is a less intelligent act because she's a woman. So in the purport, Prabhupada give explanation for these two things. What is the meaning of half of the body? I know you might have all seen like half Shiva and half Parvati in a body also. So what does that exactly mean? Literally, did they share the body? And then Prabhupada write about the less intelligent because of womanly weakness. Okay. So the half of the body means, according to Vedic system, in the family life, a husband gives half body to his wife and the wife gives half body to the husband. In other words, wife without a husband, husband without a wife is incomplete. That's what it is mean. So, and then Prabhupada write about the womanly weakness. Okay. So, because she was, attached or attracted to the family, the father's side, she wanted to leave her great husband. That shows that she is weak because she's a woman. So Prabhupada write, the womanly weakness exists between the husband and wife also. Generally, if there is separation happens, it's generally, Prabhupada writes the word generally. He didn't write at all times, right? He says generally, if there is a separation happens between husband and wife, it is usually because of womanly behavior, and divorce takes place due to womanly weakness. Okay, so Prabhupada also gives a solution. The best course for woman is to abide the orders of her husband. That will make the family life peaceful. So, because, let me read this one also. Sometimes there may be misunderstanding between husband and wife, as found in such an elevated family also, like Sati and Shiva also had that misunderstanding, right? But a wife should not leave her husband's protection because of such a misunderstanding. Okay, because of that simple misunderstanding, the wife should not leave husband's protection. If she does so, it is understood it is because of her womanly weakness. So we need to keep this within this context. We don't want to take this out of context, and it won't give meaning. If we keep this within this context, it gives a higher truth. So we can ask, why in the world Prabhupada writes like this sometimes, right? Like a womanly weakness and divorce happens because of womanly behavior. But if we keep this in the same context, so now in this verse, Prabhupada is writing, it's because of her womanly weakness, she left a great husband, which he was giving protection, right? But same Sati, same Parvati, he was glorifying Prabhupada, not Prabhupada, but in the previous canto, when Mother Devahuti selected to marry Kardama Muni, Devahuti was glorified in comparing with the Sati. Because Sati, even though she's from a great family, she picked Lord Shiva to marry, right? Sati Devi, because Shiva has a very simple life. He lives like a beggar, no house, lives on the tree. And, so she still picked him because he's a great Vaishnava, right? So she was glorified at that time. Now she's leaving husband's protection and disobeying his orders. So she's called, So we have to keep things in the context, which will give more meaning and principles and lessons. If you take these things out of context, it will not, give that kind of higher truth. So that's what I just wanted to emphasize here. Vishnu Thakur also write here, the intelligence was deluded by womanly nature. Because she's a woman, her intelligence was deluded, right? Because she has a desire to see her relatives and at the same time fear of her husband. But what was stronger? Her desire was stronger and the fear of her husband was weaker. So that is the deluded intelligence. That the other way it should be. So that's what Vishnu Thakur right here. And then next verse is, she leaves the place very rapidly because she did not want Shiva to stop her. So she leaves the place very rapidly. And then while she's leaving, seeing her leaving, the Shiva's followers also accompany her. Thousands of Shiva's followers quickly go with her because the next verse talks about they know the mind of the master, right? And the word gata vyataha, without fear. Sati was fearless. And the other word is anuchara, which is the followers. It is very significant, Prabhupada, right? Because those who can immediately understand the purpose of their master. So they understood Lord Shiva's mind, the followers, so immediately they accompanied Sati. They didn't want their goddess to leave alone. And then the procession. So next verse is procession. So the disciples of Lord Shiva, they arranged for the procession. So they made Sati to sit on the back of a bull, and they gave her a bird, which was her pet. It was a parrot. Okay. And then a lotus flower, mirror, and all such paraphernalia for her enjoyment. And then covered her with a great canopy, and followed by a singing party like drums, conch shells, and bugles. It was like a pompous, like a royal parade. And they were taking her to Daksha's sacrifice. In Vishnu Thakur right here, it was like a splendid procession. So there are each items represent something there. The bird, the other items says that she has attraction for playing, Sati Devi. And the instruments and singing and dancing indicate that her attraction for music. And the white umbrella and other items indicate the royal status. So it was very splendid parade. They were going to the Daksha's Yajna place. And then they reached there. And there, the sacrifice was going on. And they entered the arena. And a lot of chanting of Vedic hymns were going on. Great sages, brahmanas, demigods, everybody. Because Daksha invited all the leaders and sages, brahmanas, demigods, all over the universe. So all were there. So sacrifice was going on, chanting the mantra was going on, and there were sacrificial animals. And there were pots of clay, gold, stone, and everything, whichever necessary for sacrifice. In the purport, Prabhupada write about the sacrifice, the chanting of mantras, and sacrificial animals. So the entire atmosphere was so surcharged with the transcendental sound vibration. So Prabhupada write that it was so in the purport, Prabhupada write how auspicious the scene was. Whenever there is a yajna, whenever there is festivities and mantravar, and then all the decoration, it was so auspicious. And Prabhupada write, we can also create the similar auspiciousness, just to simply chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, congregational chanting. So Prabhupada, I like the word simplified. The transcendental sound vibration has been simplified in the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because in this age, nobody's expected to be highly, educated to do all the mantras and everything. Prabhupada, right? People are very slow, lazy, and unfortunate. So also all the necessity, it's impossible to collect all that, because it takes a lot of money and knowledge of Vedic mantras. So in this age, it's recommended people just gather and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which will satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the process recommended. That's a yajna, sacrifice, recommended in this age, Kali Yuga. And then Prabhupada also writes about the animals because the verse says there were animals for sacrifice. So people may think, okay, so they kill the animal in the sacrifice. So it is to test the mantra, not for the meat. Prabhupada, right? Because in medical field, when there is some new, when they're inventing some new medications or anything, they test it, right? Similarly, when there is realized souls or sages or brahmanas, they need to test their qualification or mantra's ability to chant the mantra. So these animals are sacrificed to test the mantra, and it is not just regular animals. Usually they pick the old animals, and then once they get all, sacrificed in the yajna, they get rejuvenated. They get a new body. So Prabhupada, right? The brahmanas are interested with the performance of yajna, are very realized souls, and to test their realization, an old animal is offered in the fire and rejuvenated. So it is not for the meat. And then so they reached, right? Procession, they reach it, and what's going on there? Now a cold welcome for Sati. So when they reached, none of them received her. No one welcomed her except her mother and sisters. With the tears in the eyes, with the glad face, they welcomed her and they talked to her very pleasingly. Prabhupada, right in the purport, men are sometimes hard-hearted, women are always soft-hearted. Because it shows, this attitude shows the mother and sister welcomed her. So even though they also know that Daksha and Sati has an issue because of Lord Shiva's connection, but nothing checked them from welcoming their sister or daughter, right? So Prabhupada, right, then woman has a natural affection. The love cannot be checked by artificial means. There were so many men were there. They were all learned brahmanas, demigods. They were there. Why they didn't welcome Sati Devi? Because they were afraid of Daksha, the superior. Because if they welcome Sati Devi, that will displease Daksha. So they didn't do it. So sometimes men can be hard-hearted. Women are always soft-hearted. So that's Prabhupada purport. Now, Sati did not accept the seat or gift. Why? Because she was received by her sister and mother, but she did not reply anything back to them. She was offered a seat to sit, but she did not accept. The reason is her father did not talk to her or did not welcome her. He didn't even bother to ask her about her welfare. So she did not want to sit or she did not want to receive gift. Prabhupada writes that this material relationship is so, very polluted and transient. So he writes, Sati was the youngest daughter, right? She was the 16th daughter, and she was like a pet. So imagine how much Daksha would have had affection for her in the past. But just because she has, Sati got married to Lord Shiva, now he forgot all the affection. So that's the way the material relationship is. Prabhupada, right? The material bodily conception is so polluted that even a slight provocation, all relationship is nullified. And also he writes the bodily relationship is so transient. Because even though one is affectionate towards someone in a body relationship, a slight provocation happened, the intimacy is gone. Right? Because she was so favorite and, my daughter for him. But then all gone now. That is the way the material relationship, Prabhupada, right? So Sati now gets angry again. The reason for angry is mentioned in this one. First one, the Daksha did not invite Lord Shiva. Number two, and then when Sati came, he didn't receive her also. Then now she noticed there's no oblation for Shiva also in the sacrifice. So seeing all this, Sati gets very angry, and she looked at her father as if she's going to burn him with her eyes. Okay. So why Daksha neglected Sati? The reason is because she's a offender's wife. He didn't like Shiva, so he's my offender, and I don't like his wife, even though she's my daughter. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, there was no offering for Lord Shiva. So usually in the yajna, they say the word swaha, right, at the end. That means offering, right? Swaha. And then they say something and then swaha. That means we are offering our oblation to that person, whoever they recited, right? So it could be sages or demigods, pitas, including Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu. So for Shiva, they have to say Nama Shivaya Swaha, like that they have to say. They didn't say that. So she was very angry now. So for her, for Sati, to see her sister and mother was not so important. And then she also didn't care about when her mother and when sister, received her. The main thing which was insulting her was that her husband was not given oblation in the sacrifice. That concerned Sati Devi more than anything. Now, she condemns the sacrifice itself. Because she says, she's getting angry. So the followers, Shiva's followers who came with her, noticed it, and they were ready to attack Daksha. So Sati stopped them by order, and then she was very angry and sorrowful. In that mood, she began to condemn the process of sacrificial fruitive activities. That's what they are doing. The fruitive means to desire some fruits or result from the sacrifice. So she condemns the whole sacrifice now. She disapproves the sacrifice. And the persons who are very proud of such unnecessary and troublesome sacrifice. So first she condemns the sacrifice and the people who are doing it. And then she especially condemned her father in the presence of everybody. She's going to do that. Prabhupada write in the purport, Yajna meant to develop attraction for Vishnu. So one may, perform, Vedic, sacrifices and all that. But if that such activities, if one does not develop attraction for Vishnu, they are useless labors. Shrama evahi kevalam, right? And that says in the first canto. So, okay, by doing yajna, we develop attraction for Vishnu. That is the goal. But one who has developed love for Vishnu must also develop love and respect for the devotees also, right? The both was not there, right? So Prabhupada write in the purport, Sati's anger was not objectionable. It is applaudable. He's saying, because the reason is Daksha offended the great Vaishnava, Lord Shiva. So Sati getting angry is the right thing. That's what Prabhupada says in the purport. And then the next 13 verses, Sati is going to condemn Daksha's, behavior now. So first she says, who except you would hate Lord Shiva? So, Devi Uvacha, Nayasya Lokesti Atishayanaha Priyas, Tato Priya Deha Britam Priyatanam, Priyat Atmanaha, Tasmin Sasmat Atmani Mukta Vairagke, Arte Bhavantam Katamaha Pratibhayat. Basically, she's saying Shiva is the most beloved of all living entities. And he does not have any rival in this world. And no one is dear to him, and no one is inimical, and he don't have any enemy, without enmity. So it's kind of, looks like, a Supreme Personality of God, Vishnu himself. But we all know Lord Shiva is also a Guna avatar, and he's not a soul living entity who gets the post. Shiva is not the post, like a Brahma is the post, anybody who's qualified. But Shiva is the potency or energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he's compared to curd. So he is in contact with the material world. It's not milk, but it's curd. That's analogy is given in Brahma Samhita. So the qualification or qualities that he has sounds like, like that. He's more, he has no rival in the world. No one is dear or inimical. So she says, who except you would hate or envy Lord Shiva? That is first thing Sati says. And then she says, you are Ati Asadutama, Sadutama, Ati Asadutama. So she also calls Daksha twice born. And that is kind of indirectly criticizing, even though you're a twice born. A man like you can simply find fault in the qualities of others. That is the meaning of that. Even if somebody has good qualities, and if we are looking the bad in good qualities, that they are called Ati Asadu Tama. So Lord Shiva, she's comparing it. Lord Shiva, however, not only find no fault in others' qualities, but even if someone has a good quality, he magnifies it. Unfortunately, you have found fault with such a great soul. So she's condemning him. So this is the commentary by Sridhara Swami about 4 types of, people who, how they look at the fault and good in people. The first one is Bhava Dasas, which is persons like Daksha who are envious and see only the bad in the amidst the good qualities. So that is Daksha, Bhava Dasas. And then Mahantas. Mahantas means the great sadhus who see both good and bad by proper discrimination. But they will not, consider the fault in good qualities like that. That is Mahantas. The next category is Mahataras, which is those who accept only good qualities, but do not accept the fault. They'll just ignore it. And then Mahatmas, that's the final one. Not only do these persons not accept the fault, they greatly magnify the person's smallest or insignificant good qualities also. They'll magnify it. That they are called Mahatmas. And Lord Shiva comes under this category, Mahatmas, right? Even though he's easily pleased and easily angered, he's called Ashatosh, right? So what is the demon name that he gives benediction that he himself will come back to kill Shiva?
Vrikasura.
Yes, Vrikasura.
Bhasmasura?
Vrikasura Mataji, I think. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So because he looked at that person's, that determination and his the tapas he did, austerities he did, that pleased him. So he gave the boon. So that much he's so, magnanimous, or he's a Mahatma. So Prabhupada writes, Sati accused her father. She says that you are just the opposite. Although Lord Shiva has so many good qualities and no bad qualities at all, you have accepted him as bad and found fault with him. Because of your accepting his good qualities to be bad, instead of your becoming a most exalted soul, you have become the most fallen. So this is a big lesson for all of us, right? If, not accepting the, seeing somebody's good qualities as bad, we'll become fallen. So Prabhupada right here, a man becomes the greatest by accepting the goodness of others' qualities. But by unnecessarily considering others' good qualities to be bad, we have become the lowest of fallen souls, right? And then she talks about the dust of Vaishnava. And the words are very heavy. If you look at these words that way she's talking in the presence of the whole assembly, she says, it is not wonderful for persons who have accepted the transient material body as the self to engage always in deriding great souls. Such envy on the part of material persons is very good. She's saying it is very good because that's a way to fall down. Such envy on the part of materialistic persons is very good because that is the way they fall down. They are diminished by the dust of the feet of the great personalities. So, all right. So the analogy given here, it makes more sense. The previous verse, the analogy given here is the great soul being a Vaishnava will forgive the offense if you make. But Krishna does not forgive or excuse the offenses done at the lotus feet of his devotees. The example given is the scorching sunshine. When the sun is so hot, if it's on our head, we can tolerate it. But if it's on our feet, we cannot, right? If we are walking in a sandy or the ocean or seashore area, when the sand is so hard, can we walk? No. So, and where does the devotees live? At the lotus feet, right? So that is more, that is not, we cannot take it. So that's what it means. So just as one can tolerate the scorching sunshine on one's head, but cannot tolerate the scorching sunshine on one's feet. So Krishna will not tolerate, he will tolerate offenses on him, but not the devotees. That's what it means. And whenever when we make offenses, an offender glides down more and more. And then naturally, they will continue to make more offense at the feet of great soul. So, and then Prabhupada write where these offenses come from. Usually, they come because we falsely identify with our impermanent body. How was Daksha identifying? Because Daksha was thinking, Lord Shiva married to my daughter. I am the father of the wife, his wife. So I am superior. What is that kind of identification? That is a bodily identification. You know, this lifetime, next lifetime, we can have so many relationships like that. Father-in-law relationship, right? Even though Lord Shiva's position is so exalted and more superior than him, he couldn't accept it. And he was identifying with his body. So offenses usually arise because we identify with our body, the false identification. So I have a practical example question. Let me check the time. Okay. All right. So we don't have to do it now. I'm just going to, I thought about this. So, so this is Daksha identifying with his body temporarily, falsely, as he's superior because he's a father-in-law. But did Shiva get offended by him? No, he tolerated it because he's not on that bodily platform, right? So let's think of a time that we felt that, I'm just going to say you felt. Let's think of a time that you felt you were offended. Okay, just think of any time. And let's be honest and go deeper and ask yourself, what was that feeling that you were experiencing when you thought you were offended? And ask yourself, what was your identification about yourself at that time? What was your designation that you were identifying with? I'm a good devotee. I'm a good cook. I'm a good Kirtanyavadi. Right? A lot of identification. And I'm a senior devotee. Right? So many, you know, that we are identifying with our body, then somebody says something, we get offended, right? So what was the identification? And then now, after you thought about it, try to remove that identification, whatever designation you had, try to remove. And then think now, do you still feel offended? So just an exercise. This is a summary class. When I was preparing for this class, this came to my mind, so I just put it there. All right. So Sati continued to condemn Daksha. Now, if you remember, in the second chapter, Daksha was offending Shiva. Even he was criticizing Shiva's name and conduct. That he says it was so inauspicious. You live in the crematorium, wear the skull as a garment, garland, and smear ashes and all that. Like he was talking inauspicious. But Sati says here, my dear father, you are committing the greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva, whose very name consists of 2 syllables, Shiva. When somebody pronounce or recite that Shiva, that itself purify one of all sinful activities. And his order is never neglected. And he's very pure. That's is very famous, right? So she just defeating the statement of Daksha in the previously when he offended. Now she glorifies Shiva. She says that you are envious of Lord Shiva, who is the friend of all living entities in the three worlds. So, and he does two things. He fulfilled the desire of common men. Also, some higher personalities, if they're seeking after like Brahmananda, that also he fulfilled. It's called Brahma Rasa. That's what the verse says. Lokasya Brahma Rasa. He fulfilled the material benediction for common men. Also, he gives transcendental bliss who are after Brahmananda. So he does that. She's glorifying now. I think somebody is not muted. I can ask everybody to mute. Preeti will ask them to mute. Okay. All right. So now she says that you said he associates with demon in the crematorium. He has locks of hair, scattered hair. He wears the garland of human skulls. He is smeared with the ashes and all that. These qualities, you said it's inauspicious. But who is Brahma? Brahma is greater than you, more respectable person than you. Do you think he does not know Shiva's inauspicious qualities? Why does he take the flower that is offered to Lord Shiva and put it on his head then? See, she's comparing. So indirectly, she's saying that if you are offending Shiva, then you're offending Brahma also, because Brahma does that. Right? So, and then in the 16th verse, Prabhupada writes the internal meaning of Sati coming to Yajna. Because first in the beginning, we thought she wants to see her relatives and, mother, sister, everybody's going. So she wanted to come. But here, Prabhupada writes in the 16th purport, she did not actually come to her father's house to participate in the function. Although before coming, she pleaded with her husband that she wanted to see her sisters and mother. That was a plea only. But actually, at the heart, that she wanted to convince her father, Daksha, it is useless to continue to be envious of Lord Shiva. She wanted to convince her father, Daksha, don't be envious of Lord Shiva. But after coming, this is what's happening now. So now Sati establishes the supremacy of her husband Shiva. In that Prabhupada writes, Lord Shiva is not an ordinary living being. This is the conclusion of Vedic scripture. He's neither on the level of Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor on the level of ordinary living entities, right? So Brahma is in almost all cases an ordinary living entity. Brahma is a regular, ordinary living soul, but with the higher qualities, then they get the post of Brahma. But Shiva is not the post. But he's not Supreme Personality of Godhead himself also. So Sati is establishing the supremacy of her husband. Now she talks about how to treat the blasphemer of Vaishnava. If somebody blasphemes the Vaishnava, what they should do. Okay. So first she says, if one hears an irresponsible person blaspheme the master or controller of religion, one should block his ears and go away if unable to punish. So block your ears and go away. Number 2, if one is able to kill, then one should by force cut out the blasphemer's tongue and kill the offender, killing. The third one, after that, one should give up their own life as an atonement for hearing the criticism. Right? So that's what in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, when Mayavadis criticize Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu's associates will say that we want to give up our life because we keep hearing that. So 3 things here. 1, block your ears and go away. Number 2, if you can, kill. And the third one is, after killing, for hearing the criticism, we have to take atonement by giving up our own life. This is very heavy, right? But nowadays it becomes sometimes very casual, talking about others. So we should be very, 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 very careful about that. We cannot implement all of this. The one thing we can implement is not talk. Or if somebody is talking, not stand there. Not even a simple thing. If A and B is talking about C, we don't have to stand there. Or if A is coming to you about C, but it is not about our business, we should not. If the conversation is going to be beneficial, okay, it's spiritually beneficial for everyone, and that's what it is, and we have that adhikar, then we can. Otherwise, no. If A is coming to B to complain about C, we can help the A by talking about her issue, but not about the C, right? So we just have to be very, very, very careful. Not even stand in a place when somebody's talking about others. All right. Prabhupada, right in the purport, if somebody's a Brahmana, they can just block their ear and go away, not hear the blasphemy at all. We should not hear the blasphemy. We may sometimes think, it's not a blasphemy. She was just sharing. No, we don't have to hear that. No, we shouldn't. We don't have that kind of maturity. We can guide them, okay, whoever a mentor, guide, they can go there, but we don't have to discuss. So Prabhupada, right, if it's a Kshatriya who has the power to punish, they can kill them. But if it's a Vaishya, Shudras, they should just immediately give up their bodies. So this is different ashram, but again, we have to take it to our practical application. This may not apply. The only thing we can do is not indulge, get away from that place, and not even go there, right? The reason Sati decided to give up her body was she thought she belongs Shudra and Vaishyas because she's a woman, right? And then there's a couple of reasons she gives up the body, few reasons. So one of the reason is, she she's not blaspheming Daksha back. Actually, she is condemning him, arguing back and defeating his statements, but then she's giving up her body like that. She says, I shall not maintain this body. She says, therefore, I shall no longer bear this unworthy body, which has been received from you who have blasphemed Lord Shiva. You blasphemed Lord Shiva, and I have the body which received from you, so I don't want this body. So she gives the analogy, if someone takes the food with poison, the best treatment is to vomit. So she's giving an example. So what is Sati's rationale for committing this, giving up her body is, she says, I left Shiva to come to you because of my connection with you, but you have offended Shiva and rejected me. Now I reject my connection with you. So that is her rationale. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes, I will not kill you, but I'll give up my body, because Sati Devi is a superintendent of the external energy, or material energy, Maya, right? She's a representative. She can destroy many universes. She can destroy many dakshas, right? But she's not killing him. She's giving up her body. There's a reason behind that also. Beautiful, it says. Having all powers, all abilities, I can destroy you, myself, and the whole universe. However, people will say that Shiva killed Daksha through his wife. See how she's thinking critically? In that also, she does not want to cause any ill fame to Shiva. If she kills Daksha, and people will say, yeah, Shiva sent his wife to Daksha, and then his wife killed him. So this was arrangement of Shiva, right? So in fear of destroying Shiva's fame, I will not kill you. I will perform atonement for myself. O sinful one, seeing this with your two eyes. See this with your two eyes. See me what I'm going to do, she's saying. This impure body inattentively obtained from you. So the only way to purify is giving it up, right? So, and then she also says there's no obligation for Lord Shiva, right? Because if somebody is already a PhD in philosophy, they don't have to come to high school or bachelor's degree philosophy. They already exceeded that, right? So Shiva's position is so transcendental and exalted, he don't have to follow any obligation. He don't have any rules. That's what she says. Prabhupada writes in the purport, the sunshine can sterilize the impure place. Whereas if someone else were to pass such place, he would be affected, right? So we should not try to imitate Shiva. And we also should never vilify a great personality like Lord Shiva. And then almost, her conversation is going to be over now. Pravritti and Nivritti. Sati Devi says there are two kinds of activities, Pravritti and Nivritti. There are some activities for people who are attached to the material enjoyment. There are activities for people who are detached. But if somebody is in a transcendental position, self-realized soul, it doesn't matter. Even both the kind can be neglected. That's what Shiva's position is. And she says, you cannot attain our opulences. She says that you do so many the fruitive activities and sacrifice to satisfy your bodily necessities, right? Whatever you get in the sacrifice, you enjoy that and you fulfill your bodily necessity. For us, no. We can just exhibit our opulence just thinking about it. And you cannot do that. You cannot do that. And she said, Prabhupada, right, Shiva possesses all the great opulences, but he doesn't exhibit them. It is called avyakta, mean unmanifested. He does not exhibit them. I'm going to skip that slide. And then Sati says, my body is a source of embarrassment. Because you are offender at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, unfortunately, I have a body produced from yours. So I'm ashamed of my bodily relationship. So I condemn myself because of my body is contaminated by a relationship with the person who is the offender at the lotus feet of greatest personality. And then she also says that sometime Lord Shiva calls her Dakshayini. Dakshayini means the daughter of Daksha, right? So when Lord Shiva addresses Dakshayini, instead of feeling happy and proud about her parental, lineage, she feels so morose and she don't feel good because he's an offender at Shiva. So she says that I feel very sorry that my body, which is like a bag, has been produced by you. I shall therefore give it up. So she's speaking 2-3 verses about why she wants to give it up, right? She's saying comparing the body to a bag, right? So when there is a bag which is empty, there's no value, right? It depends what we have inside the bag. So she's saying the body is like a bag and it is produced by you. And whenever he calls me Dakshayini, that brings it reminds me that that body came from you. I don't like it, so I want to give it up. So Prabhupada, Daksha is a symbol of all offensiveness. So basically, in summary, what she says is, you are ati asadu tama, means you find bad and good qualities also. And then the dust of Vaishnavas will destroy the offender. And Lord Shiva's name, fame, orders, everything is glorious. And he don't have to follow any Vedic rules, because what he expected was following the, rules, right? When he comes and he has to get up. But he's above that. He's transcendentally situated. And materialistic cannot achieve the power of transcendentalist. My body is a source of enjoyment. So now Sati sit down on the ground to give up her body. She sits down facing the north in the saffron garments. I think I read somewhere that they have to be in a saffron color garments when they are giving up their body. And then she performed Achamana. And then she absorbed in mystic yoga, performed Sat Chakra yoga. So she raised her life hair from the navel to the heart, to the throat, and the center of the eyebrows. So by meditating like that, she gives the self-conception of that she's Dakshayini, daughter of Daksha, that she purifies herself, and she first purifies her body, then give it up. And then with the anger on Daksha, she meditated on the fiery air within her body to produce the fire. So this is a process of purification. How does she purify her body? She concentrated all her medication on the holy lotus feet of her husband, Lord Shiva, who is a supreme spiritual master. And then she completely became cleansed all the sins, and she quit her body in a blazing fire by meditation on the fiery elements. So when we say, Prabhupada, right, when we say she quit her body, what does that mean? So she wanted to transfer herself to another body so that she might have completely And so she can have a uncontaminated association with the Lord Shiva, because she thinks her body is contaminated because of the relationship that she has with the Daksha. So she wanted to have an uncontaminated association with the Lord Shiva. That's what she wanted to give up the body. Of course, it is understood that in her next life, she would take a birth as a daughter of Himalayas, Parvati. And then she would again accept Lord Shiva as her husband, because Sati and Lord Shiva are eternally related. Even after they changes the body, the relationship is never broken. That's what Prabhupada writes. And then Prabhupada also writes some of the acharyas about Sati giving her her body. Jiva Goswami writes, Sati quit her body means, what does that basically means is, she just gave up within her heart her relationship with the Daksha. That is what it means, giving up the body means. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that Sati is the superintendent deity of external potency. When she quit her body, she did not get a spiritual body. Just simply she transferred her body that she received from Daksha. That's what it means, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Other commentators write, she immediately transferred herself to the womb of Menaka, the future mother. She gave up the body she had received from Daksha and immediately transferred herself to another, a better body. It does not mean she got a spiritual body. That's what it means. So what happened after she gave up the body? Sorry, I am going, it's the last two slides, that's it. So there was a tumultuous roar that came from all over the universe. And then everybody started commenting on that, because they said, why had Sati, the wife of most respectable demigod Lord Shiva, quit her body in such a manner, right? And they said it was astonishing that Daksha, who was a Prajapati, is a maintainer, right? He's a maintainer of all living entities, was so disrespectful to her own daughter Sati. She was not only chaste, but a great soul, that she gave up her body because she was neglected, right? And then Daksha is so hard-hearted that he's unworthy to be a Brahmana. He will gain extensive ill fame because of his offenses to his daughter, and he did not even try to prevent her death because of his great envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here it says Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's not meaning Shiva, because if he's envious of Shiva, that means he's envious of Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's applicable to us also. If we think we are better than somebody, if we are comparing with somebody and become envy of someone, that means we are envious of Krishna. Because whatever they have, the capabilities, the abilities that we are envious of comes from Krishna. So if Krishna grants them that ability and they're better than us, if we are envying them, that means we're envying Krishna, right? So last slide. So now after seeing this, Lord Shiva's followers prepared to kill Daksha. And then seeing this, Bhrigu Muni, who was there, he uttered a mantra from Yajurveda. And from that mantra's power, he was able to bring the powerful demigods. They are called Ribus. And they came out of the fire, and they had the Brahmanical Tejas, potency. And they were going to attack the followers of Shiva who came with Sati. And then Shiva's followers fled, they dispersed. So that ends the chapter. And then what happens next? What Shiva is going to do for this after Sati gives up her body is the next chapter. Thank you all so much. It's 7:35. I exceeded 5 minutes. If we have any comments or questions, we can take. Otherwise, we can end. Thank you all so much for joining, and thank you for the opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. That was a very crisp presentation, including the commentaries and so many insights, such beautiful insights you presented while talking. So thank you for giving all the different acharyas commentaries on different verses, like how Sati transfers and becomes Parvati. And I think in many places you did pick up many commentaries. So that was interesting to see different analysis. So thank you so much. The class was very beautiful and very nice, Mataji. Thanks. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vrajesvari, Pran Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Thank you, Mataji. Very, very beautiful class. I really like the whole class, and you are giving some practical examples that how, a woman always uses the, um, crying as an last call for accepting and her desires, making her desire to be fulfilled. This all, easily we can relate. And also you were telling how material relationships are like this, like even small mistake you do, whatever they did, whatever we did, rest of all good things, they'll immediately forget. They'll only just remember that, oh, I did so and so mistake. So you will always, they'll try to point out us. So this is the material relationships in this world. So that's why we always stress on have a relation with Krishna instead of having relations with material people. That also I really like, Mataji, and all the other things you were telling how Lord Shiva's position is and all. Thank you so much, Mataji, for very detailed summary. Always your classes are very simple to understand, even though it is complex subject matter, you'll make it simple and present it. That I really like it, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. If anyone has any question, realizations, please go ahead. Kiran Mataji, do you want to speak?
No, I just want to say thank you to Vrajesvari Pran Devi Dasi for such a beautiful presentation. You made it so simple, and you made all those points come out so much that we can understand and put it into practice. My Dhanvan Pranam to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just repeated the words of our Acharyas, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This chapter is very nice chapter, a lot of points to meditate on. The few points that I wanted to share here is, number one is the envy. Envy is like a demon who can erode all the good qualities we have. It can, consume or eat all the good qualities we have. So that's envy. And then the offense at the feet of the great soul, how dangerous it is. That is one thing, the envy and the offense. Those are main two things that from this chapter. So, Hare Sundarananda Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mati, Dandavat Pranamati, always beautiful. Yeah, a couple of things, Mati. First of all, a very wonderful class, Mati. Always, I like your pretty presentation you make always. It's very nice. And also with full of content, your class. So I was thinking, one point is from Bhagavata Pravaha, the book that Gauranga Darshan Prabhu wrote, summary-wise. That one of the lessons he writes is about how the nature of undue material attachment in relation to Sati going, even though her husband, who is a superior, telling her not to go. Because of undue material attachment, we also tend to do that, not listen to superior like that. He was highlighting Mataji, one lesson I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then the other point we were sharing about just now, about how we should be very, very careful in dealing with devotees, especially not making any offenses like that. I was remembering later on, this offense of Daksha to Shiva costed him so much that he later offends Narada Muni also, that we'll see.
Even it comes the next life.
Next
the
life,
offense
right?
doesn't stop in this one lifetime. It follows him in the next lifetime also.
Exactly. That's the other thing I was thinking, Mati. Thank you so much, Mati, for sharing wonderful lessons. Hare Krishna, Mati.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All right. Can we end now, Mataji? Vancha kalpatarubhyecha kripa sindhubhe evacha.
Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnebhyo Namo Namah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Ki
Her
jai.
Grace Vrajesvari Pran Mataji ki jai.
Jai.